like, please let me in.
Really, like floating right above your face, like looking at your own face.
No, and I couldn't. I remember like tapping my body, and I couldn't get into my body, and I started to freak out.
Oh my God.
I mean, I finally fell back into my body, and I woke up like, and all the lights were out, and it was like maybe midnight.
Whoa.
And so, what seemed like 5 minutes was several hours. And
oh, really? So the time was different.
And
too.
my partner had tried to wake me up, but I didn't wake up because I wasn't there.
You were gone.
He went to bed. She's dead.
She might be breathing.
I'll call the police tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll call it in tomorrow.
Oh, Melissa, astral traveling.
We had a good run.
Yeah. It was good.
Did you see your cord by any chance? Because not everyone report. You did
That's
see
a
it.
personal question.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get too personal here.
It's okay. I'm open.
Yeah.
No, I did. I saw it. I saw my cord.
Wow.
When, like when I turned around before I flew out.
Yeah.
I could see it. Yeah.
Oh man, I want that experience so badly.
But
And you're clear. I'm going to play, devil's advocate here for a second.
Okay.
And you're clear. It wasn't a dream. You were lucid in it. It was so different than anything else you ever experienced. Because the way I'm making this point is like a lot of people out there are like it's in your dream or it's suggested or whatever it is. But it was clear as day, right?
No, it was clear as day, and
clearer than a dream.
I wasn't going to sleep. I was meditating. So I didn't fall asleep. Like I felt I was awake the whole time. There wasn't.
That's so cool.
There wasn't like I fell asleep and then all of a sudden I'm in a different place. No, I was completely like conscious of what I was doing. But the crazy thing was,
it's already crazy.
My warning
it's already
to
crazy.
people. It's already crazy. I'm already crazy. Is that when I came back, I felt great. I was like, holy shit, that was scary, but I feel really good. And I
Cool.
woke up the next day and I felt awful.
Really?
Did you ever do like shrooms and you feel really great, and then the next day you're like, I feel like shit. Like
You had like an astral hangover?
yeah, like an astral hangover.
Like your serotonin was off or something?
Yeah, it was. No, that's not what happened. What happened was, and I could feel it because I was starting to have all these really negative thoughts, just like angry. I was like
Really?
angry. So I went from like extreme happiness to like really angry.
Huh.
So I called,
You had an
one of our
attachment, right?
healers, right? Our people that we talk
The
to.
people, yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you picked up a bunch of really weird shit that I've never seen before. And I was like, well, that makes sense because I astral traveled and I had no direction and I was just floating in fucking space.
Oh my God.
Picking
So
up
you had, like,
randoms.
parasites or something like that?
Yeah, like total, but
But you
she's
don't
like,
remember like encountering anything?
No,
Well,
Wow.
that's what a bunch of this stuff. I read some really upsetting things on Reddit about this shit. I don't want to go into it now.
Matt is completely fucked up now.
Yeah, I need a brain rinse. But there were people talking about like not just setting an intention, but also setting up some sort of protection around yourself. Because once your spirit, whatever, your consciousness leaves your body, it leaves a door wide open for things to come in and start poking and prodding around and just like attaching.
I didn't do that.
Oh, interesting.
So good to do. Set up some sort of barrier.
Huh.
Yeah. So set a coordinates, make sure you're in a positive place, and set up a protection around yourself if you're going to do it.
Astral condom.
Astral condom.
Play it safe.
Speaking of condoms,
Yeah.
wait, Matt. We told Matt we're talking about astral travel. He's like, I don't know anything about astral travel, and then he fell into a very dark side of astral travel.
Yeah, I did. So I went on a bit of a Reddit rabbit hole, and like I said, I found some unsettling things. A lot of it was. So I just was looking up stories about astral travel, and a lot of it was people. Like it seemed like a lot of horny teenagers, whatever, but just wanting to have astral sex, and that was like a huge thing.
Do teenagers know how to astral travel?
Well, I think they're looking for it because it's like
I could barely even
What,
figure out
Josh?
a woman's body. Never mind astral sex. Like that's like another whole level. I'm like, if I could just see boobs when I was 16, I was happy. Like
What is
never
the
mind.
clitoris?
Like that's a whole other level. Holy yeah.
yeah. So I mean, we talked about the ocean, the drop in the ocean of consciousness that is astral traveling out there. It's like the astral. I'm saying astral way too much. The astral internet, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I guess people like want to try experiences like that, but I guess the pure form of it is less of like a sex.
It's not sex, right? It's energetic.
Yeah,
transfer.
it's not like there's
Well,
two
let's explain-
flesh bodies pumping and grinding on it. It's-
Let's explain that a little bit.
okay. Let's break this down, guys.
Take your time. Say it slowly.
So this is something that people do. And right, there's no physical sex. Like nobody's actually physically having sex. However,
Right, there's no slappy noise.
there's no slapping
Hey,
noise.
speak for yourself.
Yeah, it's more. It's like this lovely holistic thing where it's like two energy forms coming together and porking. I don't know where I was going with that.
Oh my god!
Hang on, let me try that again.
All right, can I
No,
explain?
don't try anything
Thank
again. This
you,
is wonderful.
thank you for our male
This is
audience
wonderful.
explaining
Yeah, right.
astral sex.
A
but-
mansplained astral sex just then.
Mansplained astral sex.
I
Thank
fucked
you.
her. Yeah. In astral form. Yeah. But that's what people describe it as. Is like it's like
Do they?
a lovely. Well, that's what was online. I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
trust
well,
things
I
are
mean,
online.
that's true. So there's two energy forms that are coming together, and they're sharing. They're transmitting energy. So it doesn't matter if you never touch each other and you floated into someone's room and you had astral sex with them. You're still exchanging information, just like you would if you had physical sex, which is also an energy exchange, except
And a fluid exchange.
and a fluid exchange. But there's none of that. However, God.
Sorry.
But you could still get like energetic STDs because whatever
Yes.
whatever
I mean, I don't
energy
know, but
they're
yes.
bringing and that maybe you didn't want, like you'll get. It's the same thing. So it's as if like you could wake up and someone could say that they had sex with you and you didn't even know, and you would feel things about that person that like you never would have thought of because you had an energetic exchange with them.
Yeah, this was a thing online too. So there was the horny people coming online saying, "How do I do it, guys? I want to go in to the astral realm and go have sex with a lot of hot chicks and stuff." And people are like, "Fuck that!" Like shutting them down. Fuck that. That's akin to rape, and they're like super
I mean, it
heavy
really
about it.
is. I mean,
Yeah.
this is really true. If this
Well,
happens.
we have a friend who had a story about that in the workplace where someone was like talking about it,
yeah.
telling this person that, "Hey, I visited you last night and we had this amazing astral coitus,"
Yeah, exactly.
and and it was
this person wasn't condoning it. It was so,
no. So
But-
I don't know. What I mean, was it like they were just like having a sex dream about this person, or were they like floating into their room and
energetically exchanging information
having
with
It's
them.
just like
Sort of-
rabbit humping the air above them while they lay in bed. Like, how does that work?
or just sort of I don't want to say rape too much, but
Well,
I
it's a
mean,
little
it just-
rapey.
it's a little rapey,
you know?
Like it's not like
The intention behind it is rapey. It is.
Yeah.
Well, it's
it
just
is.
it's
Whether
just
it's
like
real or not, it's rapey.
It's just like when people say that like they have energy forms feeding off of them. It's the same thing, right? So it's like you're asleep and there's an energetic form that comes over you and consumes you, basically. It's
That's
kind
actually,
of the thing.
yeah, that's super creepy. I'm surprised the movie hasn't done that yet.
it's kind of
That's a-
freaky.
it's
like
really
I wonder
freaky.
how many times that's happened to my poor little astral form.
Well, why have you had all those, energetic blockages? Who knows?
Maybe. Shit's getting rowdy. We kind of led into like the zone of what you'd think of is a succubus or an incubus, where people were like going into these astral realms and seeking out sex. And there was another thing like these seasoned astral travelers were saying is like, that's such a base energy to kind of come into this thing with. You're going to attract some bad shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So people going in there and basically having huge issues with having horrible dreams afterwards of having entities come into their safe bubble and doing horrible things like fingering them. I don't know.
What?
Finger banging them?
Oh my
Astral
God.
fingering.
Where did you go?
Listen, I read some things I can't unread.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing positive
Matt
happens
is
at 2:30 in the
always
morning on Reddit.
Always,
Yeah.
he goes the deepest.
Yeah.
He's like, astral travel? I got it. I'm
Right.
gonna go deep.
Anyway, so there's some warnings out there. I don't think it's something to go into with a flippant attitude. I think you need to kind of really prepare for it. And I think that's kind of the point behind a lot of practices, spiritual practices and stuff that kind of they lead into this kind of thing. You can't just come into it with like, you can take some psychedelics and just like jump straight into it.
Right.
But I think there's an intention and a mindset that you need to come in with it that takes a bit of practice and to kind of pull the ego away and get out of those base vices of like sex and power and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
You need to come in with a
because I
positive
mean, like
attitude.
I didn't have that experience, but then again, I wasn't looking for it, right? So I was just floating around in space, really happy. But I think like it's so crazy that like scientists are saying this isn't real, doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yet there's so many people who experience this kind of thing without even knowing what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's some basis to it. Plus, there's all this ancient evidence of stuff in the Bible and ancient China and ancient Egypt and Japan and that have these references. But they use it as like tools to see beyond, right? Mm-hmm. Where I think it's like we have the internet now, so people are like, oh, I want to try that, and then I'm just gonna go do stuff I'm not supposed to, right?
Yeah.
It's reserved to understand the cosmos. It's not so that you can go do astral sex.
Right. And can I just add to that the scientific part about it? Because that's the one thing out there. Is there scientific proof? And if you read any article on a major publication, well, there's also one article I read from Live Science that called Astral Projection, Just a Mind Trip, written by Benjamin Radford. And basically in it says there's no evidence for astral projection.
Oh shit! I feel like a rant coming on here. Should we break?
Go.
I'm going to tell a crazy story after the break, but I want to set it up first.
All right.
The story helps
Right on.
solidify what I'm saying. So, two things. One, yes, there is scientific evidence for out-of-body experiences and astral projection. It's been proven. I don't say beyond a reasonable doubt, but there's real studies out there. For example, a couple quick ones, just so people know. I'm not going to go deep into these things because it gets boring. But one study you can look up is from Charles Tart. They had a woman read a number that was 2 meters above their head with a clear divider, so they couldn't see what it was.
Oh, yeah.
And she was able to read it. And the more fascinating part about it wasn't just that she read the number, was that her brain patterns, her frequencies, were different than any other state of consciousness.
Well, so that's interesting in and of itself, because they say in a dream state, a lucid dream state, you're in a dream because you can't read anything. Like you can't. There's something about lights too. If you try to flick a light on and off and it doesn't work,
right?
Usually you're in a dream. Another thing is trying to read something or trying to write something.
It's really difficult.
It's really difficult.
Right, so it's hard to repeat.
You can do that in astral travel.
You can, but it's hard. So the point is two things. One, you can do it, but it's very hard. So it's not a good way of saying it's real or not. It's not good evidence. It's not a good way of tackling the problem, is it real or not. But you still can. That's my second point. And there's another study by Janet Lee Mitchell and Carlos Osis, who studied famous psychic Ingo Swann, and he got 8 out of 8 targets, and they ran a study. It was really interesting. You can look it up. But the larger point here is, in this article I read, he just said there's no evidence. There clearly is, but the point we're making here is it's not just... It's just there isn't a way to study it, really. It's not scientific in the sense like there's empirical data you can get. It's more complex than that. And what you're saying, things in the astral realm, and I have a great story in a second, we're going to break and I'm going to come back, they show you how weird it is in that state. And just because things in the physical world you can measure, when you're there, things are different, and it's fascinating. You'll be in a room and there'll be furniture from present time and from 30 years ago and from 200 years ago. So time is messed up, and what you're looking at isn't the same. The astral world just has different rules and regulations. So right after the break, I'm going to break down this crazy story I found on YouTube that kind of sums this all up in a little bit of astral sex. It's going to be wonderful.
Oh, God, I'm on board.
All right, we're back. So I want to break down an awesome story I found on YouTube. There's so many amazing astral projection stories out there. This one is great because it encompasses many things, and I just want to share it. The guy's name is Gordon Xavier. It's on YouTube. That's his channel, Gordon Xavier. I highly recommend looking up his astral projection story.
Is he just an astral traveler? Like, what's his deal?
No, he's always posting about stuff in the space.
Oh, okay.
And he's really well-spoken and charismatic. And he's
way to go, Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon's shit. So this story is awesome, and Gordon captured me. It's a 10-minute video, but I couldn't stop watching it. He was so awesome. So, all right, this is Gordon's story. And I want to start with this. So before it gets weird, it changed his perception of time, space, and who he is. It was a very transformational moment for him.
Oh,
it's going to start a little wacky, but at the end of it, it ends with like changing his life. I love stories that are based in quote unquote paranormal that end up transforming someone's life. I think that's the best shit. All right, so he was in Iowa. He just moved there. Forget where he came from. He was reading a book. It was something about visualizing creativity or something. And he took a nap. And during his nap, he started to have a lucid dream. He was familiar with what that meant. He was in his dream. He was kind of conscious. It wasn't astral projecting yet. So lucid dreaming could potentially be a stepping stone to astral projection. He's in the dream, and he comes across a lady. a lady, and he's
Oh,
explaining.
so he doesn't seek out this lady.
No, he just happened to be sleeping. He immediately saw an attractive woman in his dream, and he was like, "Why am I conscious?" So immediately he started hitting on her. Immediately he was like, "Hey, what's up, lady?" And